Hey, you all, welcome back to Berry Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all. And of course, I invite you all to come on and do the same with me. Go ahead, before we get started, hit thumbs up, please. Hit that thumbs up. Also, hit subscribe if you haven't. This is the year of getting these subscribers up. So help me reach my goal by just hit subscribe. It's that simple. And always, as always, I want to know how my YouTube family is doing. Are you okay? Have you looked in the mirror today and you're like, yes, I'm loving what I see looking back at me. If you are, go ahead and drop me a mirror emoji down in the chat. And if you're not feeling your best, that's okay. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay stuck in a place where you're not okay. So if you're not, as always, I encourage you to do what you must to get back to a healthier you. All right, y'all. We about to get into Abbott Elementary. Y'all know this is just like one of my favorite shows. I had a commenter say I should go back and review season 1. And I said I would do that. So y'all be on the lookout for that because I just love the show. I can go back and watch another season. It doesn't matter to me. So anyway, this is season 2, episode 15, Fire. So opening scene, we see Ava, Janine, and Jacob. So they're out in the hallway talking, right? And Ava is complaining because she was being messy by trying to slick video record somebody in their nappy wig. And she dropped her phone and broke it. And then she wants the lady to pay for the broken phone. Like, really? Who does that, Ava? Who does that? So Jacob has made these carrot cookies. Yes, you heard me. Cookies, not cake, but cookies. And they look a hot ass mess. He's trying to offer them to everybody. So he has this big old box that he's just walking around with, trying to offer them to somebody. And everybody is just like, no, the things are hideous. So even Gregory ended up walking by at some point and he was like, those look like they are alive. There goes Jacob. Oh, that's just the probiotics in them. Oh, that doggone Jacob. But anyway, so all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off, right? And you can see everybody kind of scurrying about. And so Janine is like, is this a drill? Because I don't recall seeing it on the schedule. You know, I guess they have like scheduled drills. And so they say, you see Ava running back down the hallway. She was like, this is not a drill. This is a real fire. Everybody out, hooty-hoo. Y'all, the hooty-hoo took me out. The hooty-hoo. Hooty-hoo. Took me out. Janae's like, where are you going? Ava was pretty much like, deuces, like, I'm not dealing with this ish today. I'm protecting my peace. And y'all, by the time the teachers got all the students evacuated at the building, Ava was in her car and gone. So the fire ended up coming from the teacher's break room, right? One of the little tapers had called fire. And so they were all in the break room, you know, all the main teachers that we usually see, plus Mr. Johnson, I think. And so Janine ends up asking Jacob, did his cookie start the fire? He's like, no. Jacob, don't nobody want them cookies, man. Don't nobody want them cookies. Oh, you hold on too tight to them things. So the firefighters end up coming in and they asked to speak with the principal. So Ava threw them deuces up. She ain't nowhere to be found, right? And so she off somewhere just being Ava, doing her. Y'all know how she does. So Gregory decides to appoint himself as interim principal Eddie. Since he has had all this principal training and whatnot, because y'all remember, he really had tried to be the principal over at the school, but Ava got the position. So anyway, so he goes on to talk about all the preparation he's had in the training that includes preparation for tidal waves, Facebook crashing. Those are for the older teachers. And for lice outbreak, those are for the white teachers. Y'all, the way I cackle, I'm tripping because this happened one time at work. And my white co-workers, they did not really believe that very rarely do people of my complexion we get lice. Like it just doesn't happen. That's all y'all, boo. That's all y'all. So anyway, so the firefighters end up saying that the fire had been started by this shawl and this candle. They hold the items up. They're in this little plastic bag. And so both items ended up belonging to Barbara. So Barbara tries to minimize what happened by saying, oh, it must have been like a gust of wind that came from the vents. It must have blown my shawl over on the candle. Meanwhile, Melissa is just mesmerized by the fire truck of it all. Excuse me. Like she's literally like looking out the window at the fire truck, just like, wow, and oh, there's a such and such engine, and I'm like, girl. And so Mr. Johnson, on the other hand, telling the firefighters that he done lost his diamonds. I think he said he done lost about 3-4 diamonds. He done his Ferrari, like literally, y'all, the little burnt up space was about this big on the table. Like, Mr. Jones, are you serious? Talking about we need to talk insurance. No, y'all don't. So Melissa is running back to her students, right? Talking about we're finna go on an impromptu excursion. Y'all, she tell them kids to put their coats on, take their backpacks off, and she takes them out to the fire truck. And gonna tell them to use their puppy dog eyes to finesse the people into letting them play with the fire truck since it's there. I said, that doggone Melissa, oh my goodness. Melissa is like in dog heaven out there. Like she's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Anyway, back in the building, a trauma counselor from the district ends up showing up. And so she ends up approaching Janine. And so she says, I'm looking for acting principal Eddie. And then Gregory, y'all know his class is right next door to Janine. Here he go. I am interim principal. No, he says, that's interim principal unofficially, but effectively. So Janine is like, wow, you called in the district, sent someone over right away. Because y'all know they stay putting their schools on the back burner. And so Gregory is just like, you know, he trying to gloat like he really got some pull, talking about some, yeah, people really respect my leadership. The lady, she's one of them nonsense attitude type of people. Like, so you don't see her crack a smile, her face just never changes or nothing. And baby, she was just like, no, I was already on my way. Like, as if to say, don't get it twisted, boo-boo. This had nothing to do with you. So she says that she's there to visit all the classrooms and kind of just assess how everybody is doing from the fire and their feelings, and then also to set up a fire safety meeting for all the staff to attend. So we see Miss Trauma counselor in Jacob's class first, and y'all know he's just eating it up. Y'all know Jacob is all about the feelings and all of that, and so he's out there for her being therapeutic, and so he says like, yes, oh, that's what I always say. When in doubt, always talk it out. Then his man proceeds, y'all know he be holding clutch to these cookies of his. Then he proceeds to offer her some. He take out the top, and she's just like, she looked down at it. She take one look, and she said, it's late morning and the container is still full. I'll pass. So Miss Trauma Counselor then goes over to Barbara's class. We see her in there. And Barbara is like, her students are okay, but if they're not, you know, she'll let her know. She'll keep checking in with them. And so Miss Trauma Counselor is like, okay, and how are you, Mrs. Howard? And so Barbara said, I'm fine. Y'all know how she just, I'm fine. She always gonna say everything with a smile or whatever. So yeah, she keeps telling the trauma counselor, I feel like I got a piece of hair on my lip, that I'm fine. But she didn't like how Miss Trauma Counselor kept writing all this stuff down in her little handy dandy notebook. And so she continues to try to reassure Miss Trauma Counselor that I'm fine. Matter of fact, that's only 2 words you can write. She's fine. And one of those is just a contraction. I'm trying to talk about. It was the wind. The wind is to blame. If anyone is to blame, the wind is to blame for this fire. And me, I'm fine. I mean, I know you're on a fact-finding mission. Miss Trauma Counselor said, I'm not an investigator. I am a counselor. Here go, Barbara. Yes, you are an investigator of feelings. Oh goodness. Then we see we get a snippet of Miss Trauma Lady going over there with Janae. Baby. Janae said, I am finna take all the advantage of this situation because Janine is going on about her issues with her mom and her sister and how she's dating Mo, and he took her to a place and had a mariachi band. And the trauma counselor was just like, look, I'm trying to see how you are from the fire. How are you have you been affected by that? And here goes Janine, oh, I'm getting to that. So every time she said something, the lady was like, let me guess, this had to do with the fire. And Janine was like, no. But I said, oh, Janine tried to get all that free therapy, baby. Meanwhile, we see Melissa kids. They are over the fire truck. They have had enough. While Melissa, on the other hand, is like a kid in a candy store. She's just running around doing everything while her children are out there cold and tired. Like, Melissa is literally having the time of her life. This was her dream career that she did not follow, apparently. So, the fireman, one of the firemen, at one point asked if anyone wanted to honk the horn. So Melissa's like, man, forget the horn. They've heard a horn before. This city runs on road rage. Let's check out these jaws of life. This can crush your entire car. Then she proceeds to hop her butt up in their front seat and blast the doggone horn. One kid was like, I just wanted to honk the horn. I said, them poor babies. So Miss Trauma Counselor then comes to Gregory's class. And here he go. Please hold. Then he turns around, proceeds to put on a sweater straight up out of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. All I was waiting for was the whole shoe exchange. Like, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Wouldn't you be my neighbor? I was like, oh, Gregory, you are doing the most right now. You are doing the most. So once he put his little sweater on, then he turns back to her, talking about interim principal Eddie at your service. So she tells him that, you know, she's checked with all of the staff and everybody seems to be doing fine. The children seems to be doing fine. But there is one person in particular that doesn't seem like she is handling things well. So he immediately assumes that this woman is talking about Janine. And he was like, yeah, Janine, she'll be fine. Then she was like, no, it's not Janine. Then he said, is it Mr. Jacob? And she's like, no, it's like he kept naming people and it was not them. Like, she let the lady tell you who she's talking about. So ultimately, she was talking about Barbara. And so Gregory tells her that he feels like she's wrong about Barbara. And then, ding, 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 guess who pops up? Barbara. In Gregory's classroom, mind you. So she waltzes in and Barbara says, I just want to reiterate that I am fine. And then she says, and I don't listen to Shaka Khan's Through the Fire when it comes on Pandora. I'm every woman type of listener. I'm not a pyromaniac. I said, oh, Barbara, what is going on, Barbara? So here go Gregory. Okay. That's a little worrisome, but I think you still need to look at Janine. I said, now why you keep trying to throw your little love interest under the bus, Gregory? What does that say about you, Mr. Interim Principal Eddie? If you constantly thinking she needs to talk to somebody, but you the one running after her, like, duh. So anyway, Gregory asked Barbara, is everything okay? She said, didn't I make that clear earlier? I said, oh, okay. Little touchy much. He said, I just want you to know that you can come to me as a friend, or if you wanted to be more formal, you could come to me as a interim principal. I said, oh, he is letting that just go to his head. He was waiting on that moment. He was waiting on that moment for Ava to leave and he can step up and claim to be interim principal Eddie. Like him, he and Melissa are getting their entire life this episode. Like, so anyway, he goes on to remind Barbara about the mandatory fire safety meeting. And Barbara is just like, I'm a 10-year teacher. I'm seasoned. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to go to a fire safety meeting. And then she gonna throw in, plus Ava would let me skip it. Well, we all know Ava don't be doing shit. Ava just go let you do whatever. So they kind of get into like this tug of war, like this push and pull about her needing to go and she not wanting to go. And so, yeah, it kind of just ends with him telling her it's mandatory and she needs to be there pretty much. So we see Jacob come outside, right? Melissa is still out there with her class, or her classes, because we know she has 2 grades. And so all the kids, y'all, are just laying up against the fire truck. They cold, they tired. I said, the poor babies. Melissa, meanwhile, still running around like a chicken with his head cut off, just exploring the whole truck. Like, ugh. So one of the firefighters asked Jacob, like, how about helping get your coworker away from this truck? So you can see like Jacob's wheels turning at that moment. Or like, how can I help out with this? And y'all know they all do stuff, especially Doc on Janine. That's all you need is an opening and they gonna take it. Jacob is another one. So anyway, when they back in the fire safety meeting, right? So it started. And Gregory ends up telling Janine that he's worried about Barbara or whatever. He tells her that Miss Trauma Counselor pointed out that something may be going on with her or whatever. And so here goes Janine. Well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She said that I may benefit from therapy. And Gregory does his look at the camera like he does, like, y'all know how he be looking like, yeah, she's right. He killed me with them looks. I can't do it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know the look I'm talking about. Anyway, Melissa is complaining that being a firefighter is like a male-driven career. Like, she's talking to Jacob and so that the women don't get respect. And so Jacob kind of points out that, so in the meeting, there were like several firefighters up front leading the meeting. And so Jacob points out, well, there's a woman firefighter up there. and helping with the class. And Melissa is just still complaining though, like, no, she wouldn't have been up there years ago, and da 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 da. And it probably, there's probably some truth to that. Just like, nursing is a more woman dominated field, even though I'm starting to see more men and men coming to the occupation, but typically that's what it was. So typically I think being a firefighter was a male dominated career field. But yeah, so anyway, so she's just complaining about this. So anyway, so where am I at? Oh, so the firefighter that's leading the class, right? He ends up reviewing like how their particular fire started. And so like with the candle and the open flames, and Barbara Shaw is like an accelerant. And so at the point that he says that, all of a sudden Janine and Gregory, they both try to start taking up for Barbara. But Gregory did it like in an insulting way. Like, she gonna say, yeah, it's not her fault if she's getting old and forgetful. Everybody's like, what? You slick just called Barbara old and forgetful. Do you think she got dementia? And that's how the fire started? Like, oh my goodness. So... And then gonna say, and if she is, she shouldn't be afraid to get help, like Gregory. No. No. So they really just turned their whole meeting into a joke from there. Like, it was a mess between them. Like, one person, I think Janine ends up bringing up how the biggest fire was started by a cow. And I don't see you teaching fire safety to a cow. And here go Jacob, no, because we don't see that moo. Like, it was a mess. They turned the whole meeting into a joke. So then the firefighter was just like, you know what? There will be no more open flames allowed. And so Barbara said, surely candles are still okay. I've been doing that for 20 years without a problem. And so the firefighter's like, no, that's it. There will be no more open flames, no more candles. And so Barbara stands up, y'all, and she starts going off like she slick clicked on old firefighter man. And she was just saying, she lit a candle for peace of mind, and now it's being taken away from her, and this is ridiculous. And she storms off and runs off to her little room. And so I said, wait. So Melissa ends up going after her, right? And she tries to cheer her up by showing her pictures of her with the fire truck. And Barbara's clearly still upset because all she said was, yeah, it matches your hair. Barbara was not feeling this. So Melissa is like, are you okay? And so Barbara said, yeah, I'm fine. But then she ends up opening up to Melissa about how her husband had prostate scare. He was having some issues, and they were waiting for tests and waiting for the results. And they never said the word cancer, but that was kind of what they alluded to. So waiting for those results to see if that's what it was. She said it was stressful. And so she said all that she could think to do was light her candle and pray. And so Barbara said, what was I supposed to do? Just sit and worry about it all day? If we were to blab every time life got hard, we would be... And before Barbara could finish her sentence, here go Melissa, Janine. I said, they wrong for how they keep clowning my girl Janine. They wrong. So they end up hugging it out, and Melissa just lets her know that things are gonna be okay, and that she needs to get back to her firefighters because she has their keys. I said, Melissa, now why would you do that? What if them folks had a real deal emergency, and here you are with them doggone keys, keeping them from getting to where they need to go? So anyway, Jacob ends up coming up with this brilliant idea. So he tells the firefighters that he has a frisbee stuck up on the ledge at the top of the building. So the firefighter said, Jacob still carried around them cookies, y'all. So the firefighter said, why don't you just use these cookies to get them down, to knock them down? So he starts to throw them up there at the ledge, trying to knock the frisbee down with the cookie. I said, oh my goodness. So Jacob ends up convincing them to let Melissa use the fire ladder to get up there and get the frisbee down. So Janine and Gregory, we see them going to check on Barbara, and she said there's no need to worry. She will not be lighting her candles anymore, and that is per the orders of the district and the interim principal. Here go Gregory. Order sounds so strong. She said, either way, I will not be lighting my candle anymore. So she turns around, then she goes back into her class. And once she sits down, one of her little students comes up, and he's just like, Mrs. Howard, is the fire done? I said, oh, the little cute baby. Oh. So anyway, yeah, so the little boy was all worried about the fire. And she was just like, you know, it is done, but it's okay to feel scared. You don't have to pretend that you're not. Pretend it can make it harder. So you know she's kind of thinking like, okay, I'm really speaking to myself now in this, you know, I need to take my own advice. So you can just see that. And because she even says, you know, sometimes Mrs. Howard feels the same way. Yep, you talking to yourself. And she said, you know what, that's okay. So I'm glad she started to come to that realization that how she was feeling, that stress, it's okay. It's okay to be fearful. You know, again, it's all about what you do and if you stay in that or not. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so Melissa done went up, climbed the ladder, got the frisbee. She comes down, so she ends up thanking the fire chief for allowing her to go up there and do that. Because, I mean, she was suited and booted. She had the little helmet on and everything. And so he said, the fire chief was like, you know, you should have told me who you were, that you were related to the Schmitties. And he says, your uncle was a legend. He put out the Hawthorne fire back in 95. Still never found out who started that fire. So then in her confessional, Melissa was like, yeah, my other uncle started the fire. Talking about, I'm not snitching. He's actually proud that he did that. I said, oh, Melissa and her folks, they so rogue. They are so rogue. So Barbara runs back into the Miss Trauma Counselor back down at the principal's office. So she ends up thanking her because she tells her the fire was a direct result of the stress that she's been dealing with some things that have been going on at home. And so Miss Counselor later was like, you know, I can write you a day off. And Barbara was like, a day off? For what? I've only taken a day off when I've been sick or for a vacation. Oh, and there was that one time where I went to go get my hair done because Kirk Franklin was in town with the family. Oh, and for y'all that don't know, that was when Kirk Franklin first hit the scene. He was Kirk Franklin and the family. At that point, he done went through so many people. But yes, he was Kirk Franklin and the family at that point. But anyway, she says, no, I never take a day off for no reason. Miss Trauma Counselor said, well, it seems like you have a reason. And then she gives her a confessional, and she's just like, you know, it's really called a mental health day. But if I call it that, I know she's not going to take it. I know her type. So she ends up handing Barbara the form, and it's already filled out. And she said, I had a feeling you would be needing this. So the next day we see Janine coming to Barbara's class. She got like a car. She got like some sunflower plants or sunflowers. And she goes in saying, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Only to find out that Barbara is not sitting behind that desk. It's a substitute teacher. And so, guess who else is popping up? Ava. Like, Ava, where you been, bitch? Where you been? So, anyway, Ava tells Janine that Barbara took the day off. And so Janine was like, is she okay? Is she mad at me? And Ava never ceases to give. Never does she ever cease to give. She tells Janine, just because your face is round like a little Teletubby sun baby does not mean the world revolves around you. Y'all, the way I cackle, she called him a Teletubby. Anyway, Gregory walks by at this point, and it's like, where's Barbara? And so baby Gregory is decked out in his suit, like he ain't even got on his little sweater no more. He has on like a suit jacket. I said, okay, Gregory. And so when Ava sees him, she's just like, take that blazer off. You think you the principal or something? I said, yes, that's exactly what he thinks. So they end up finding out that during yesterday's fiasco with the fire and all that Ava had dipped off to a spot. Because here she go. I tried to get Barbara to go to the same spot I went to yesterday. I said, oh, Ava. So it's the end of the day, right? And Jacob and Melissa are in the break room, in the staff break room. And so he's making a sign for his cookie to please take. Melissa's just like, you know what? It's been days now. It has been days. Them things are probably worse than they were when you first made them. And so he's like, no, I put some grapeseed oil in them or something. It makes it last, girl. I don't know. So then he ends up walking out. And so Melissa decides, okay, I'm just going to taste one. So she gets one and she's smelling, she's smelling it. And so she finally tastes, she take a little bite. And she was just like, oh, these are actually delicious. But then she looks at the camera and tells the camera person to wipe the tape. Like, we don't need no evidence of me actually enjoying these cookies. Oh, y'all, this show is so cute. I really do like it. The one thing I really like is how they all genuinely seem to care about one another. Like, it really does translate through the screen. At least for me, it does. It just seems so real, not like they're just acting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really do seem like a family. And so I really can appreciate that. And I just look forward to these episodes on the weekly. But anyway, that's it. That was the end of the episode. Another great one. Let me know what y'all think. Please don't forget to hit thumbs up. And as always, y'all, I'll pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me. And what? Bye, y'all.